My last video on 9 games to play during quarantine did really well, so I thought I'd do something similar. In that last video I spoke about the games that I've played over the past couple of weeks. There were no other criteria than that, but in this video I'm combing through my catalogue and seeing which games work the best for times like these. I had way too many to talk about, so I decided to talk about 3 genres that have plenty of games in them that work perfectly. So hi everyone, my name is Adzi and welcome to the 3 best genres to play during quarantine. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. Now, on to the video. The genres I have chosen for this video are roguelites, MMOs/loot grind games, and then finally esports games. All 3 genres are great for long play sessions with goals to reach and constantly improve either your skill or your character skill. So let's talk about arguably my favourite genre, roguelikes or roguelites. I have to distinguish between them because there have been an argument raging on for years, something that Total Biscuit introduced me back nearly 10 years ago. Roguelites are games like Rogue. This game was released back in 1980, and if we're being technical here, a roguelike has to have procedural level generation, have turn-based movement, and be on a tile system. A modern example of this would be something like Dungeons of Dreadmore, and I would certainly recommend that game. Roguelite is a more loose definition. It has all the same trappings: procedural level generation, random enemy spawns, random items, which all add to the replayability. However, where this genre differs is that there can be so many different types of combat and movement systems. The reason why I'm choosing this genre for the video is because of the sheer amount of content and replayability. You can easily sink 50 plus hours into every single one of these games and not even scratch the surface. Now I can't spend too much time on each game, but here we go. The first are the top-down roguelites, and they're my favourite type. The 3 I'd recommend are The Binding of Isaac, Nuclear Throne, and Enter the Gungeon. All 3 of these are twin-stick shooters with randomly generated rooms and items with lots of bosses to fight. The Binding of Isaac has some pretty disturbing imagery, so that might turn some people off, but I find it very interesting. You can see that it was inspired by the original Legend of Zelda with its room layout. Nuclear Throne and Enter the Gungeon are more fast-paced, with the former being a more typical shooter and the latter being a bullet hell game. All 3 of these games have really fun and interesting items. The Binding of Isaac is very biblical and has plenty of religious items and weapons, and Enter the Gungeon has some really unique weapons like a gun that shoots guns. The next style of roguelite I would like to recommend are the FPS ones. These are a lot more action-packed than some of the turn-based roguelites like Dicey Dungeons and Darkest Dungeon. My 2 favourites that I've played are Ziggurat and Strafe. Both are based off shooters of old like Doom and Duke Nukem, especially Strafe that seems like a Doom roguelite. Ziggurat is a wizard-based shooter with a lot of cool weapons like wands, bombs and crossbows. The enemy designs are pretty cool, but they get quite samey after a while. There's a good bit of challenge in this game and a nice platinum trophy if anyone is into that. Strafe started out pretty rough, but it has seen plenty of updates and has been improved a lot since release. It's very old school with plenty of blood and gore. If you like classic shooters, then this will be right up your alley. An honourable mention here is Void Bastards. I've never played it, but reviews are really good, so check that out if you're interested. The last style I would like to talk about are the platformers. My 3 favourite in this category are Flint Hook, Spelunky and Dead Cells. Flint Hook has a really cool art style with a fun grappling hook mechanic that helps you traverse rooms really fluidly when you get good at it. Spelunky is my favourite platformer roguelite. I would say that it is the most difficult of the ones I've mentioned here. It's the definition of punishing, and exploring all the floors of the cave is a tense experience. It's a game that is begging to be mastered. The final roguelike I would recommend is Dead Cells. This game is unbelievable. A beautiful art style with great animations and real weight behind each hit. It kinda reminds me of a Metroidvania, but it's still a roguelike true and true. It has a really active community online, so people absolutely love it. So now on to the second genre, and that is loot-based games. The games that let you play for hours on end just to improve your gear slightly. I'll split these up into single player/co-op games and then online persistence games that can be played with many people. The single player games I would recommend are the Borderlands series, Torchlight and Diablo. I'm sure you have all played and heard of Diablo and Borderlands, but not all have played Torchlight. Torchlight 2 was very similar to Diablo, but is a lot cheaper, and I do prefer it over Diablo 3. It's the same action RPG fare, but I prefer the presentation. Diablo is really dark and dreary, and I think Torchlight 2 has more colour in it. It got a console port not too long ago, so give it a look. Diablo 3 is pretty similar, but if you want a great loot-based game that has plenty of content, then give this a go. The Borderlands series is one of my favourite gaming franchises ever. The shooting feels great, with plenty of unique weapons and quests to do. Even the dialogue is really funny, something that a lot of action RPGs really miss out on. Personally, Borderlands 2 is my favourite in the series. I enjoyed Borderlands 3 and there are plenty of improvements on the formula, but as a package I think number 2 is my favourite. The 3 online games I'd recommend are The Division 2, Destiny 2 and World of Warcraft, especially WoW Classic. So I'm not a hardcore player of these kind of games, so I'm approaching these MMOs from a more casual perspective. I put about 50 hours into The Division 2 and Destiny 2, and then over the years I've put hundreds of hours into World of Warcraft. There's not really much I can add to the conversation with these games, but they are perfect for times like this. They allow for many players so that you can play with plenty of your friends, run raids, do PvP, and explore the worlds. There's loads to do in these games and they can be bought for dirt cheap. The Division 2 is on sale on PS4 right now, so I hope it's on sale when this video goes up. As for WoW, it has one of the best worlds in a game ever, and the community is fantastic from my experience. Now if you're on console, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. I would recommend The Elder Scrolls Online for a similar-ish experience. The final genre I would like to discuss are esports games. In a time like this when we have so much free time, these are perfect. All of these games are set up to be easy to pick up but really difficult to master. My two favourites are Overwatch and Rocket League. I shouldn't really have to explain Overwatch, but it's a 6v6 hero-based shooter. Every player has their role and each role is as important as the next. One weak link in the team and it can become a disaster. I've been playing this game on and off for years now. I don't take it as serious as Rocket League, but it's a really great game and I love jumping back in when new updates come out, which are very frequent. Now, I spoke about Rocket League in my last quarantine video, but I just love it so much that I have to talk about it even more. I take this game really seriously. I have close to 600 hours in it and the things that you can do in the game blow me away. I'm currently sitting at Champ 3 and still playing basically every day to improve whenever I can. It looks very basic to a new player, but if you dive deeper, you'll realise the complexity of the game. You really have to play this. Okay, so I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favourite genres are right now. Subscribe if you want more. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you all on the next video.